As you know, this coronavirus pandemic is affecting us all in one way or another. Obviously, the worst case scenario is if, you lose your life or someone you know loses their life. Obviously, there are different levels, right, of how this pandemic is affecting you in one way or another. It's affecting us in the sports world. Nothing to take away from those that have suffered from health issues. But what about right here at home in Las Vegas? As you know, this was a really exciting time with this new stadium, Allegiant Stadium. You had UNLV football in there. Maybe not as much excitement with UNLV football as there is with the Raiders. I think that's fair to say. But still an exciting time for UNLV with a new coach and a new place to play. There's a lot of people that bought season tickets for the Raiders that are not going to be able to watch the Raiders play in person. And one of those, his name is Bill Schuller. And Bill is arguing in a federal lawsuit that the country, which is China, of course, lied about the mishandling of the coronavirus in Wuhan. And he's demanding that he and his mother and her husband get reimbursed for those tickets and the fun they would have had watching football games in Allegiant Stadium. He is Las Vegas lawyer Bill Schuller, and he joins us right now on the line. Bill, thank you so much for being here. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me.
So, Bill, I guess this would be my first question. When did this idea come up in your head? I mean, was this something automatic? When did you decide that you were going to file this lawsuit, and how do you file a lawsuit against another country?
Well, the idea first formed when I learned that some stadiums were reducing the capacity of fans that were going to be in attendance, such as Jacksonville, Kansas City, etc. I figured it was only a matter of time before that was going to be the case with the Raiders. And I thought to myself that if they reduced the capacity or excluded all fans, which ended up being the case, that I would file in federal court.
So this sets an interesting precedence, though, doesn't it? Because as you know, you're not alone here, right? There's a lot of other people that have also, purchased tickets and are not going to be able to enjoy games. So how is this going to work, first of all? I mean, do you think that you're going to see tens of thousands of other people do exactly what you did? And how on earth does this happen in a courtroom? I mean, do you have to go to China? How does this work?
No, you don't have to go to China. So the lawsuit was filed here in the District of Nevada. Of course, it presents some legal issues, to say the least, being that you're filing against a foreign nation. The first issue is sovereign immunity, which protects the nation from being sued in another nation. Litigation against foreign nations in U.S. courts are prohibited unless the lawsuit falls under an exception set forth in what's known as the Foreign Sovereign Immunities Act. And one such exception involves misconduct in the U.S. by a foreign nation involving commercial activity and non-commercial torts. So that's the exception that I filed under. But in April, Congress actually proposed several coronavirus-related legislation in both houses of Congress, including the Justice for Victims of Coronavirus Act, the Holding the Chinese Communist Party Accountable for Infecting Americans Act, and the Stop China Originated Viral Infectious Diseases Act of 2020. I know that's a mouthful.
No, that's okay, but I guess this is what. Listen, let me be clear here, Bill. I'm on your side, right? We all know that China.
Sure.
Well, we all know that China is responsible, for this virus. Now, we can talk, politically on the response. That's another subject. But with that being said, here's my, I guess, question/concern is that if you can sue China because you weren't able to watch Raiders games and you lost money, can't everybody sue China for something? I can sue China, because it affected my job. I could sue China because I'm not able to play poker and it costed me money. I can sue China because maybe I couldn't gamble. I can sue China because I wasn't able to enjoy going out to restaurants on a consistent basis. It affected my life. I wasn't able to go on dates. I wasn't able to meet people. I wasn't able to go to clubs. So my question to you as an attorney, where can you stop? Where does this stop? I mean, can't everybody sue the country of China?
Well, the short answer is yes. I mean, the causes of action are only limited to your lawyer's lack of imagination. However, you have to have evidence to show that there was causation. The season ticket holders woke up that morning to an email from Mr. Davis, which specifically said that there would be no fans in attendance for the inaugural season because of health and safety concerns which resulted from the coronavirus.
Right.
So in my lawsuit, there's a direct causation, from the outbreak. But some of the examples you gave were a little more attenuated and which would be a little bit more difficult to prove in a court of law.
And I understand that. Have you spoken to other season ticket holders, and do you feel like there are other people that are going to come on board with your lawsuit, or is this just you and your family?
Yeah, no, there have been quite a few season ticket holders who have reached out, whether it be to voice their support or inquire as to whether or not they could join the lawsuit. The second issue I'm going to have is actually serving China. So service of process, that requires that the complaint and summons be served on each defendant. I have until November 9th to figure out how exactly to serve China, Hubei province, and the city of Wuhan. I can also move for an extension of time to serve. But until I get that service down, I'm gonna limit the lawsuit to the current 3 plaintiffs.
So I would imagine you didn't file this lawsuit unless you thought there was a decent chance that you could win. So I want to ask you about that. Obviously, you're an attorney you've been doing this for a while now. You know what you're doing, I would imagine. Do you think that there is a legitimate chance that you can actually win this?
Well, I mean, as a lawyer, we never guarantee results or give percentages. Is there a chance? Yes. Is it a good chance? Probably not. But I just thought that, given that this is an election year and given the protests and the riots throughout the country, I think most of the country's focus has shifted away from the source of this outbreak. And I think this lawsuit does its small part, at least locally, to shift the focus back towards the culprit.
So how does this jurisdiction actually work? I mean, how would you be rewarded any type of financial compensation from China, considering that you're in the United States?
Well, I mean, China has assets throughout the entire U.S. Borders. So as long as they have assets in the U.S., if I were in fact awarded a judgment, then I could attach the judgment to those assets, and that would be one means of collecting.
And so if they want to defend themselves in a court of law, where would that take place? I mean, how would that work out?
Well, I mean, the federal courthouse is right here downtown. That's the courthouse where any proceedings would take place, the U.S. District of Nevada.
The odds of that, and again, I'm not taking away from what you're trying to do, and as I said, I'm on your side, but let's be honest here. The odds of anybody from China flying over to be in a courtroom here in Las Vegas, Nevada, we're talking about, and how much are you suing for? I didn't even ask you that. How much?
Well, I mean, we're suing under diversity jurisdiction, which just requires that you're alleging over $75,000 in damages. So
Okay.
You're not required to set forth a specific amount when you file. We're suing for loss of enjoyment. At the end of the day, that would be up to the jury to decide what we're entitled to.
But I guess that was my question I asked, and again, I understand there's a financial situation here because you guys bought these season tickets. But if you're suing from enjoyment, it goes back to my question I asked, can't we sue because we can't enjoy going to a movie? Can't we sue because we can't enjoy always going to a restaurant? We got to wear masks everywhere. We can't enjoy going to nightclubs. Tourists that come to Las Vegas, they can't enjoy, certain things. We can't enjoy going to shows. I know I miss that tremendously. Isn't it the same? I mean, I guess I'm trying to understand. Isn't it the same thing to an extent that, hey, I can't enjoy going to a comedy show? I mean, we're talking about most of the country that could file under the same lawsuit, couldn't they?
I mean, to a certain extent, yes. I mean, again, the burden of proof as a plaintiff is on you to show that the reason you couldn't enjoy one of those activities is because of the outbreak.
Right.
If you were willing to, retain an attorney and incur the costs and the attorney's fees and costs that come along with filing a lawsuit, you of course you could file.
Right.
I mean, that's everyone's right to do under our rules of court. Again, this isn't an easy lawsuit. I mean, there are issues, and probably those issues are the reason why you haven't seen more such lawsuits. However, there have been similar lawsuits brought in Florida, California, Texas, Missouri, Mississippi, and even one here in Nevada before my lawsuit. So, I mean,
Sure.
It is being done.
Well, listen, we're going to continue to monitor this. I have no sympathy for China. I hope you win, sir. I really do, because I also think it sets a precedence, and I think it'll pave the way maybe for other lawsuits. So please keep us up to date on what's going on here and the next steps, and we'd love to have you on again when you get a little bit more information. And listen, Bill, I wish you luck. I hope you get them.
I appreciate it. And just
really
for the record, I work at Litigator Law, and I can be reached at 702-840-6982.
Good enough, Bill. I appreciate your time, my friend. Good luck with this lawsuit, and hope to get some information on it in the coming months. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Bill.
Thanks again.